All right, now when I was born, there was nobody there but my mama and dad. And my daddy was named Neil Morris, and of course my mama was Allie Morris. And the next morning my dad rang the dinner bell outside in the tree, a big bell, so that the people all around would know that the first child was a male, a boy. Grandfather and grandmother lived a mile or maybe 2 miles away. And when they heard that bell ringing, they wanted to go see their child. There was no doctor there when I was born. So they came walking across the field. Grandfather was long and lean, and grandmother was big and fat. And grandfather got there and saw the baby. Now my dad, there's a creek close by, and my father would pick up chunks of driftwood that came down the creek to burn in the fireplace. And finally, when my grandfather saw that grandmother was getting close to the house, he picked up a piece of driftwood, wrapped it up in some kind of a cloth, and when she came in, he handed it to her, and she thought that was the baby. And she fell in the chair, and she rubbed the baby, and then she opened it up, and she was a very religious woman. But she just blew her top, as they say in this country. And she said to my dad, "Neil Morris." "What?" "Yeah," she said, "just a chunk of driftwood. What in the hell did you ring that bell for?" And that pleased grandfather very much. And then they gave her the baby. That was this guy. And she sat there stroking the baby, and after a while she said, "Little Driftwood." And my daddy said, "Now don't you go giving that kid any names. We've already named him. His name is James Corbett Morris. James for his grandfather, Reisinger, who was German, and Corbett after a great prize fighter." So my grandfather said, "Well, I'll just call him Jimmy Driftwood," and that's what she always called me. And when I was grown, that's what she still called me. Now many years passed, and before I ever did the Battle of New Orleans, I went to Kansas City and made a little single record. Some people wanted me to do that. After we got it made, they decided I needed a stage name because Morris was hard to understand on the telephone. And finally they said, "Did you ever have a nickname?" A nickname is some other name besides your real name. And I said, "My mother called me Jimmy Driftwood." Psst, that was it. So they gave me the stage name of Jimmy Driftwood. Now, years later, Cleda and I, my wife and I, toured Asia for the State Department, United States Information Service. And 3 times while we were over in Asia, I'd go into the hotel, there would be my big picture, Jimmy Driftwood. And my credit card was James Morris. And they'd send for the police. And that bothered my wife very much. And then after we got here in the States, one time it happened, and my wife said, "I wonder if we could make Driftwood our legal name." So she called the lawyer, and the lawyer said yes. And so our legal name now is Driftwood. That's how that happened. But of course my name, as I was born, was Morris. But now it's legally Driftwood. That's how it came to happen.